you see the lipids, you see the liver enzymes, you see the gamma GT, and you're like, I know exactly what you're running. You don't even need to ask. All right, next one, Halotestin. Now, you two had a huge argument. I had Taeian Clark
Honestly,
on. And
the best part about that argument was the video he did, the scathing video he did about me after, where he's visibly shaken. He was like actually having a nervous breakdown while he's making fun of me. And someone said in the comment section, someone said, "You're just a dude in a black t-shirt. He has a PhD."
Yeah.
He was like actually having some sort of emotional episode during that.
Well, let's put it this way.
He took it quite personal. I don't understand why.
We must be 5 or 6 months later. I'm still waiting on those sources to be sent to me.
So I asked,
politely requested that I will gladly read these studies. Absolutely, I'd love this. And then I was sort of just like, yeah, but I'm going to send these studies over and then we're going to change your mind. And he's like, well, just send me the study then, please. I want to read the study that I cannot find online anywhere that you said you have access to. Send me the study.
You and I don't have access to, but he has access to this thing.
Yeah, so that's what I found a bit weird. Anyway, what he talked about, halotestin only cycles did turn out to be true based on the scientific evidence. And I was able to find most of the studies from my halotestin deep dive. But yeah, I think you went about it the wrong way.
Well, it was the safety thing. It was the safety thing that wasn't true. And he was recommending it for women and children.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
No,
right?
That's true.
There's a reason why it's not prescribed that way.
And the problem is, like, I went through every study that I could find on halotestin. So I read 300, 400 studies. And I'm thorough with my deep dives, as you guys know. And then you guys provided some extra studies, through your, academic resources. So I put all of that together and I linked with full citations my entire halotestin deep dive, and safety and efficacy data was not studied like you would expect. It's a fucking cliff note. Just like in the Mastron studies where they say hair loss and virilization was not observed in one sentence, funded by Syntax. Right, so then you already have to say, like, well, okay, if you really want safety and efficacy data, I want to see full blood work before, during, and after. I want to see organ imaging. I want to see fibro scans. I want to see heart enlargement studies like they do with nandrolone. That's when you really know if it's safe and efficacious. But I mean, to be fair, most of the steroids have not been studied to that extent, besides nandrolone, anavar, and testosterone.
And Gene and I were just looking at the structure of it. You can tell by looking at the structure of it that it's toxic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean
no, but not everybody has a biochemistry degree.
No, I understand that, but that's why we were trying to explain to them. When you look at this, like, you're like, holy smokes, sure, it's a great drug, but it doesn't mean it's healthy.
So how can you see that? Please
the
break it down for the
halogenation was a carbon 9. It just, when you add that to a drug, it generally makes it pretty toxic.
Removing a fluorine group, fluorine
displacement.
Fluorines are, when we were sort of going through drug design and pharmacology, you want to make any drug superior, stick a load of fluorines onto it. That's like, an unspoken pharmacological, setup of, you add a fluorine onto a molecule and all of a sudden you're going to change the dynamics of how it interacts from a receptor perspective, but also from a half-life. No doubt the data, there's a lot of case reports of where we see, and obviously the case report of the woman who basically had a grated cheese liver who had, been prescribed halotestin during cancer treatment. And then, you have all these compounding factors where, she's cancer, she has, chemotherapeutic drugs being used. But then on top of it, she's taken halotestin for 14 months and then dying of, a grated, like her liver basically turned to mush. So was that, the chemotherapy? Was it the cancer? Or was it the halotestin that tipped it over the edge? We weren't disputing the fact that maybe there is some level of safety when you dive into the studies on, can you use it in a controlled fashion? Well, of course, anything can be used in a controlled fashion. Is it, safe to go around saying, well, this is a safe compound to be using? That was sort of where me and Kurt went, hang on a minute. this being promoted as a safe drug absolutely is not.
No. And I have children. I don't want kids watching those videos and being like, he single-handedly increased the production out of China of Halo fourfold. The sales that year of Halotestin went up fourfold.
Yeah.
Because of that, which is terrifying because who was taking it? Right? It's not a drug that I generally don't use.
Taeian Clark also likes to promote oral-only cycles, so I can't imagine. Right? And Taeian, I respect you a lot, but it might not be the right way to approach, information. Because if you start promoting oral-only cycles, and it's Halotestin that is the drug that you're talking or raving about, who are you empowering? Right? It's not adults that are going to do that. It's the guys that run SARMs, and SARMs are already deleterious. So if you run Halotestin long-term solo, and you don't even know how to mitigate side effects because you're entry-level bodybuilder, or not even bodybuilder, just a recreational lifter, I don't know. It's doing more damage than good. That's why we go deep and make it complicated, so people get inspired to learn more.
I mean, you have to circle back to the case reports on Superdrol, and that is a pro-hormone, readily accessible, and what happens there to a lot of people. So, using that as an example, it wasn't that we were speaking out against the actual science. It was just when we're talking safety, and that goes back to episode 1 where we all had the discussion over safety. Turn around saying something that we know, from a lot of blood work. We've all seen people's blood work who have used Halotestin, real Halotestin. We know what happens between the lipid and liver panel when someone has used Halotestin.
You can smell it when you read the blood work results. You see the lipids, you see the liver enzymes, you see the gamma GT, and you're like, I know exactly what you're running. You don't even need to ask.
From that perspective, we don't. To be politically correct, we do need scientific studies on safety data. Is that going to be done at this point? Absolutely not. So we're looking at anecdotal reports of what we've all seen from years of experience, and we know that there is toxicity to it and should be spoken about rather than saying, in the scheme of it, no problem throwing 20 milligrams of Halotestin daily for your anabolic cycle, which we know absolutely is far removed from what we'd want.
Yeah. Right. So I do see some practical applications, again, leading into a contest prep in combination with Winstrol or Superdrol or something like that. But again, that's only for contests. I don't see it suitable for an oral-only cycle or any other kinds of contest. You can go into the scientific evidence and say that it improves semen parameters, but we have much better practices out there nowadays without virilization or potential for liver stress. Right? You use some fucking recombinant HCG or FSH, for fuck's sake. I did pretty well on those compounds.
Yes, you did.
No angry sex, unfortunately, but that's okay. Should have thrown it in the Halo. I'm gonna have to put it in E tier because it's not useless. But it's only for contest preps, which is weird because we're all also saying that Winstrol is for contest prep. But we're putting that in A tier. So technically, if we're thinking about contest prep, shouldn't we put Halotestin in S tier? Because there is nothing like Halotestin leading into the contest. It makes you strong, makes you positive aggression, it wakes you up, literally, gets you out of this diet brain. How do we want to approach it?
I mean, it has that, if you viewed it in the same light as Anadrol for, strongman, powerlifter, great efficacy for, again, during those wave loading phases for aggression, acclimatizing, neural stimulation, neural drive. Outside of that, again, if you need to use Halotestin, from a contest prep perspective, and you need to use that to get aggressive, to go train, to lift heavier, then maybe you're not recovering properly. There's no denying also that there is some level of cosmetic benefit to Halotestin. But to be honest, when you add Halotestin on top of Winstrol, it's more like the Winstrol that's driving the cosmetic benefit. The Halotestin is probably not doing a huge amount on top of the winstrol by itself. So,
Yeah. And nowadays with our mitochondrial support stacks, nobody's tired anymore leading into the contest. Because all the guys that I met at the gala, they were like, yeah, we watched the Anabolic Roundtable, and I talked to Dean personally, and I talked with you, and I'm running the SLU and the Methylene Blue. They're all happy-go-lucky running around, talking with everybody, socializing, and they're on cloud nine. So yeah, maybe those guys are excused from halotestin because they're just so energetic that they don't need halotestin as a pickup, basically. No more injectable ephedrine and no more halotestin, just to get you to the end.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how you have to view, like in the past, if you were under-recovered, underslept, were we using these compounds as a complete crutch? Again, I've said this before, if you're not recovering properly, dosages are going to go up to compensate for that lack of recovery. Yeah. So if your mitochondria are optimal, your glucose turnover, fat burn, and all these things, you probably don't need halotestin. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've told anyone I coached to use halotestin, whereas, maybe a few years ago when we were only getting to grips with some of the intricacies of mitochondrial health, we would have said, 10 milligrams halotestin for the final 20 days to get someone through those training sessions. Again, could be an artifact of that under recovery that we were just compensating for.
Yeah, because it's also reasonably new, right? That just shifting your training modalities based on how you recover and really focusing on the sleep and not hammering the trembolone anymore so you can actually sleep. We've been doing that for the last 5 years, and it's actually around the time I stopped coaching to focus on the YouTube channel. So all the stuff that I learned in the meantime, I didn't really get to apply much to competitors because I didn't really coach full-time athletes anymore. I gave consultations, but and you two are still actively coaching. So of course the game has changed.
I've only used Halo with one guy this year. Of all the guys I prepped, only one guy.
Okay, so we can safely move it to D tier then. It's just...
and he was really suffering with lack of energy, feeling hard. Like it was kind of the only thing to get him right. But again, I didn't know about the SLU and all that stuff. That was before we had discussed that. So it was just the only tool in the toolbox I had that would kind of get him out. Most guys I would, there's mental problems from taking Halo. I'm not well on halotestin.
No, I know. It's weird because some people feel good on it.
Big Paul says he feels great on it.
Yeah.
I flip-flop between wanting to kill people and wanting to kill myself on it. Like you just sleep in your damn car because you can't talk to anyone.
No. You hate yourself for hating everything else.
And it just, I don't know. That's to me, that's the difference between that and Winstrol is they're just mentally, they're totally different drugs. Yeah, and Anadrol, you feel fine. Anadrol, I feel good on.
Yeah, I feel great right now.
I think it might, the appetite thing might occur later if you use it too long, but I don't get hateful on Anadrol.
On halotestin and Tren, you get hateful. Yeah.
I don't even get it that much on Tren. Halo, I mean, my wife had asked me to take multiple walks the last time I used Halo because I would yell at her about dumb things for no reason.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's put it in E. Fuck. Do we have to put it in F tier then or E tier?
E's fine. I mean, it has a use, right? It's not a useless drug.
Use. Okay.
It just, I don't recommend it for 13-year-olds.
Shots fired.
Well, we have a responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Outside,
I know. I agree.
We do
agree,
it, and I take that seriously because people listen to what we say. Yeah. I'm not trying to make people sick.
No, you saw at the Mr. Olympia Expo that there's some 16-year-olds coming up to us. I'm like, fuck. Don't watch the shit, man. Yeah. Don't watch. But they're all natural. And they're all like, yeah, you're deterring me for this hormone journey. You said, well, I'll see you in 10 years because you should be doing a lot of research until then.
And learning how to train, learning how to eat.
Yeah.
The basics first, perhaps.
Yeah. That's too much work.
Way too much work.
Too much work.
Just take Halo.
All right. Halo, just put it, let's put it in E tier and leave it there. Done. And then maybe at one point we'll put it in F tier when we have some more mitochondrial support aids and just reduce the drugs even further.
Or maybe it'll move to A tier when we finally get that research.
Fuck, Kurt. Kurt's on the roll today.